Hello everyone! It is Sunday night and we are coming to you live from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida to talk to you about all of this week's new releases for indie and small press comics. As always, I'm your host Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, and here to gush about an ungodly amount of books that I absolutely think you need to read. Usually I would tell you about the wine we're drinking. I am not actually drinking a wine tonight because I have another event to go to, but here we are to hang out and have fun. And so before we jump into what happened this week, I do want to kick it off with just giving some cool shout outs for all the things that happened this week. Everybody who came out to story time yesterday, all of the Girl Scouts from Troop 281 who came and earned their comic creation badge or their art badge for our little daisies. There were 20 girls in that group, and they ranged all the way from little bitty all the way to 8th graders, and it was so cool to see that wide range of people coming up with their own characters and their comic stories and everything that went into making their comics great. And it was so awesome to get to have all of them share their stories with us. So thank you to the troop for coming out. And if you are a Girl Scout or Cub Scout troop and you want to earn your comic creation badge or an art badge, just shoot us a message. We're happy to help you earn that through that process with us. It's one of our favorite things to do. I also want to shout out to our Fresh Start Book Club that met this week. We had such a fun time reading Adventure Man and doing fun voices for all of the pulpy dialogue and just kind of coming up with where we thought that story was going to go. It was a great week at Bat City, and another one is on the way because this week we've got this Wednesday, we've got Story Cube Storytelling Night. This one's for you adults. I always have adults who are like, hey, we want to do all the cool stuff the kids do. So here it is. Here's your chance. This Wednesday, we are going to have Story Cube Night where we're going to roll the dice and we're going to learn how to tell a story with a bunch of story cubes that are going to tell us all about what items to put into our story. And we're going to walk through how that storytelling process kind of can look. And we're going to see what everybody comes up with. And we're going to share those stories. It's going to be great. So come out Wednesday for that. The other thing we've got going on this week is Saturday, the 21st at 4 p.m. is going to be this month's comic creation workshops that are open to the public. So if you've got young kids and you want them to work on their writing or just come have some fun and make a comic, that's going to be this Saturday at 4 p.m. and it's going to be a blast. Don't forget, on the 28th is our Badiversary. It is celebrating 2 years here in Bradenton, 6 years as a store. It's celebrating local comic shop day, which is just a great day to go out to any local comic book store near you and just tell them like, hey, I love having you here. It's great, and see all the cool stuff that they're doing. We are going to have a massive sidewalk sale. We're going to have some stuff on sale inside. We're going to have some free comics. We're going to have some artists and vendors that you can check out that day. It is from 11 to 4 on the 28th. It's going to be a lot of fun. So don't miss it. It's going to be great. We're talking about cool things that happened this week, so I've got to point out the coolest thing is this cool shirt. Do I need to stand up so you can see? Okay, I've got this awesome cool shirt from our friends at Comicsburg. They sent this to us. I'm so excited to actually have one. It's so cool. I didn't even know they had shirts until it arrived, and I was like, dude, this is dope. Now we have one, and it's awesome. But wait, there's more, because our friends at Comicsburg are always sending us cool stuff, and they also sent, this is specifically from Marvin Wynn, who is the writer of it, sent us this EGS graded copy of the Edge number 1, and it's so cool. Thank you so much for that. You know we love our slabs, and we are so excited to have this, and it's actually got like the certificate, the authenticity, and all the stuff that goes with it. And I think this is actually my first EGS slab ever, so it's kind of cool to see what their slab process looks like. And thanks for sending that out for us. I'm so excited to just kind of to show it off. And I just love this shirt. I'm gonna wear it all the time. It's so cool, especially us, because Comicsburg, they're Pittsburgh based, so they've got the black and yellow colors, so this is so perfect for us in the home of the Bradenton Marauders, the farm team of the Pittsburgh Pirates, to have our black and yellow in a comic book form. It's so great. Also, we got a box this week from comic creator Shannon Folks for the Sleep Runners series, and this is the Dare to Dream. This is actually box 4 of 100, so there's only 100 of these boxes in existence, and I'm going to open it up so you can see all the cool stuff inside of it. So look, I like when you get like the little trading cards to kind of give you all the stuff. And then, like I said, this has 100. There are only 100 boxes of this in existence, and so there's some little stickers in here. And then this is the entire set, which I am looking forward to reading, of the Sleep Runner series, Dare to Dream collection. I'm so excited. I think there is it 6 issues? Is it 8 issues? It's 9 issues, and all 9 issues are in here. So I'm going to definitely be checking those out and talking about it. But thank you so much to Shannon for sending those out. And huge shout out to our friend and Bat fan member Nathan, who actually introduced us to Shannon, and connected us so that we can learn more about his comics that they've got going on. So I'm very excited to see where this story goes. I'm going to be reading that probably this week. And I'm going to put that in. There you go. Thank you. I feel like fancy whenever you take stuff from me. I feel like one of those like fancy talk show hosts who like shows off something and then like the producer comes and takes it like magically from behind a curtain. Makes me feel cool. We are going to dive into some comics though that came out this week and talk about them and all the cool stuff that happened. So I'm going to kick it off with Department of Truth issue 25 from Image Comics. Now 25 sounds like it's way far in the series and you can't jump in, and why is Shannon telling me about this comic? But this arc of Department of Truth has actually been essentially a prequel that kind of tells us how the Department of Truth was formed. So it's actually the perfect place to jump in. And if you are a fan of the Kennedy conspiracy, you definitely need to read this story. Department of Truth is a comic that's about what would happen if every time people believed in conspiracies, if enough people believed in them, they suddenly became true. And an agency in the government, the Department of Truth, forms in order to kind of stop crazy, outlandish things from happening. And that agency is run by one Lee Harvey Oswald. And so we are... when we first came into the series, we just kind of started in the now and kind of joined a guy as he was going along to join the Department of Truth and learn that initial information. But now we are actually going back in time and getting to see Lee Harvey Oswald's story of him coming into the Department of Truth and the formation of that, and where that kind of started, and that whole JFK situation and how it really changed everything in our... I'm not going to show you anything else. How it really changed it. This is issue essentially 3 of this arc, and it really is the best jumping in point. And you should absolutely... Again, if you're somebody who like dives down those rabbit holes on TikTok of conspiracy theories and you're not reading Department of Truth, you totally should. Especially, it is one of the James Tynion like longest running indie series right now. It's that and Something is Killing the Children that have just been going back and forth for so long. We've got The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, issue 12 from Dark Horse, and Tiny Onion, which is actually James Tynion's imprint. This is not written by James, it's written by Tate Bromble, but this is essentially what if we put all of the characters from the Universal Monsters, if we put those archetypes into new modern kids, and they were all found each other in the same school. And so we've got our Christopher Chaos, who is kind of our Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, who is friends with Dracula Boy and a girl who can make cats, like ghost cats, appear out of places and just uses them as for her own bidding. And they all kind of become friends because a boy that they all mutually had a connection to was killed in issue 1 in the very beginning. And so they come together and realize they're all monsters and they need protection. And they've kind of gotten to a point where they feel comfortable with each other and are kind of like it's us against the world. And now in this newest arc, we are seeing these 2 kids who have shown up to the school who are werewolves, who are from the same pack as the boy who was murdered in the very original story, and who are trying to figure out who's responsible. And unfortunately, Christopher and his friends have been caught in the crossfires of their very determined pack pack that is trying to figure out who this is and like how to get back at them. And where it is very explosive right now is these kids are all trying to deal with family obligations and situations and monster obligations. And so we're going to see where this goes for them. But Christopher seems to be having some problems of his own that he's not even aware of yet. And so not to mention there's like an anti-monster cult out there coming for them. So there's a very big story that is still unraveling in front of us as we go. Speaking of big stories unraveling, we have Transformers issue 12 from Image and Skybound, and of course our Energon universe, which is our Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. This is really, really becoming a huge thing because we've had Starscream kind of running the Decepticons, and he's led all of them into this massive war, and they are trying to bring their own Cybertron planet to Earth so that they can siphon this energon that they're finding on Earth back and forth between Cybertron. And they have taken out most of the Autobots at this point because the Autobots are the ones who actually weren't strong in this story when they came into play. And Optimus Prime has made some very bad choices on how to run his team, and he's got some very angry Transformers who are not happy with the way he kind of fled from Cybertron to Earth, and are not happy with how he's running things on Earth and the people he's leaving behind. And as they go back in this issue to try to figure out how to save the fallen friends who have been kidnapped or captured and kept by Starscream and his Decepticons, we find out that there's some very hard feelings and some possible double crossings that are going to come Optimus Prime's way if he doesn't watch his back or his tail end, I guess. But we've got some really crazy stuff going on, and issue 13 is going to lead us to some first appearances of new characters and some origins for some of our fan favorites. So we've got Geiger, issue 6 from Image and the Ghost Machine imprint. This is Jeff Johns and Friends' new imprint, and this is, of course, a Jeff Johns story that's been going around for a while at Image, but with the new Ghost Machine imprint, he's kind of given us a new starting point for this story. If you don't know Geiger, it is about a man who is radioactive in a post-apocalyptic America, and he is very adamant that he wants to find a cure for that because he kind of lost everything he had when he became the radioactive man, and he's just trying to make his way through to find some kind of cure. And he's recently teamed up with a nuclear knight who thinks he knows where a cure is for him. And he also has his dog, which is a wolf, a two-headed wolf, a mutated animal. And the dog itself has been going through a lot. It was recently kidnapped and traumatized. And so this issue is actually told and almost wordlessly from the point of view of the dog, who wanders into a zoo and discovers that there are other animals out there who, some are not mutated, some are, and all are being mistreated by humans. And he's so tired after the trauma that he went through of seeing animals get abused by humans that he teaches these animals how to fight back. And it's just kind of a nice little one-off almost of this dog story. It's very reminiscent of when Pizza Dog got his own issue in Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, and we kind of just got to see him go out and do his thing for a minute. It feels very much like that, but in this apocalyptic Jeff Johns world. We've got Deadweights, issue 6 from Ahoy Comics. I love this story. This is one of those where I was like, what is Ahoy doing when they first started? And I am so glad that I just kind of fell in love with these people. This is about two supervillains who aren't actually really that super. They're more just like mid-range villains, I guess. And one of them decides, hey, let's get out of the villain business. We're not very good at this. We're always getting our butts kicked. I hate it. And so they leave villainry. They try to be heroes. It doesn't work out. The heroes won't accept them. So they just become regular people. And as they've been living their lives as normal people, they have developed some friendships, and a couple issues ago, the daughter of one of the friends was recently kidnapped by some very bad people. And so Cannonball, who is our hero, our villain who wanted to retire, chooses to go out and try to save her, and he drags his friend who has no desire to, really be a hero, into the fray of trying to be a hero with him. And they've gone through a lot, and in this issue we actually learn that Cannonball is not Cannonball the First, and we get to see what the Cannonball program actually was and what the concept of choice really does for us, and whether or not we're able to actually choose to be a hero when we've been fated to be a villain. And it's really cute. There's also a preview at the back. They always have prose stories in Ahoy books, and we've got a preview for an in prose form of an upcoming fantasy comic that we're going to be seeing come very soon. So if you are into high fantasy, give this, and like a little bit of sci-fi, I'd say give this fish story in the back a read and see if it's something you're interested in, so you'll know whether or not you're going to want the comic that goes with it when it comes out. Space Ghost, issue 5 from Dynamite. If you are a fan of classic Space Ghost, this is definitely a book that you need to be checking out, because it's going to have all of those same thrills and feels of Space Ghost. And in this, Space Ghost managed to save 2 kids who were on a spaceship that was being attacked by some bad people who were looking for, that secret to life that the scientists had been working on, which we know is inside of a chimp. And so Space Ghost saves these 2 kids, and these kids are determined to find their family, but they're also like, we have to save the universe wherever opportunity comes up. And they are left behind on their space planet while Space Ghost goes to deal with his former large villain, only to not listen to Space Ghost and leave the planet when a help call comes out, and they're like, we have to help these people in distress, which leads to them getting captured. And now in this issue, Space Ghost is trying to do whatever it takes to save the kids, which also may mean powering up a super Hadron Collider in order to bring about the greatest evil of all time. If that's what it takes to save his friends, he's willing to do just that. But are they willing to let him do it is the question. And so we get to see all of these people kind of have their first big battle moments and some of their first big concessions as well in this issue. And it's just, there's a lot of heartfelt moments in this issue. For those of you who are Space Ghost fans, definitely check it out. We've got the wrap-up of Cruella de Vil with issue 5 from the Disney Villains line from Dynamite. This one actually leaves us open to even more Cruella if we wanted, and I hope that we do get some more because it's been a lot of fun. But in this story, Cruella de Vil has been released from prison after the happenings of 101 Dalmatians, and it's just, while she's still rich, she's got a lot of people who don't necessarily want to work with her, and a lot of issues that are going on, and a new villain comes in and says, Cruella, I love your style, let's work together. And so they try to rob the crown jewels from the palace of Buckingham Palace, but in the process, the dogs, the corgis, the queen's corgis, discover that Cruella is up to something, and as we know, dogs hate Cruella de Vil, and so she has no choice but to steal the dogs herself, and now in issue 5, she is trying to get rid of the dogs before she can be captured. But are the police going to be faster than the neighborhood animals? Who's going to capture Cruella and who's going to actually send her upriver is going to be the question that you get resolved as you come to the end of this Cruella de Vil story. Biomex, issue 5 from Black Box Comics. This is also a wrap-up of Biomex, and it went in a crazy direction that totally 100% worked in a way that I had no idea it would. If you've been following along with Biomex, this is about a world where everybody is in mech suit, kind of. It's almost Transformers-esque in the way that it feels, but this brother and sister have been told that the war that they've all been fighting in forever is they are about to lose, and the only way that they can fix it is by fusing between the two of them into this super mech and going back in time. Well, they go back in time with the guidance of this AI, essentially, that's leading them to everywhere that they need to go, only to get back to the future and find out that everything is worse. And it's what happened? And we find out that AI was corrupt the whole time, and stuff is going on, and you're going to see some big massive battles and some big revelations and changes as these two have to figure out how they're going to actually save the day, because they've now made it way worse than it was in advance of that. So if you're looking for some more just big mech suit fun, that's going to be a good one for you. Into the Unbeing, issue 4 from Dark Horse. Holy crap, this book is strange in the best, most wonderful way possible. This is about a group of scientists who work for something called Sinew, which is essentially the science organization of the government that is trying to figure out how to keep people alive after we've like exhausted all resources and we're in this like wasteland type future. And so they find something that registers as the life force, but when they get there, it is actually just a cave. And when they enter into the cave, it turns out the cave is a living organism, and they have been trying to find their way through the cave because their leader went in overnight and never came back out. And as they begin to work their way through the cave, they're essentially being, forced through a body. And it's like, okay, we're in the lungs, now we're in the stomach, which you can kind of see them going through like the intestines there. And so many weird things happen, so many creepy creatures come out, and as soon as they make a turn where they think they're in the direction that's going to lead them to safety, something even worse happens every time, and our scientists are gonna see if they can make it through, and I don't know how they're going to, but I think we're gonna find out probably in the next issue whether or not the possibility of escape really does exist. But if you haven't checked this book out yet, highly recommend. It is a wild ride from start to end. Speaking of endings, we have issue 4 of Misery from Image and your Spawn universe that Todd McFarlane has just been expanding so much this year with so many new titles. And Misery is about a young girl who's trying to just figure out how to deal with these powers that she's been given. Essentially, if anybody attacks her, she kind of loses control and attacks them back and kind of takes them out. And that happens to her at one point, and she ends up getting like on the police radar because of it. And over the course of the last 4 issues, she's kind of just found herself in the wrong place at the wrong time and attacking people so much. And in this issue, it opens up with her being in a cop car, and the cop who was trying to attack her at the end of the last issue is actually just completely messed up. And so she gets taken to the hospital for recovery, but also arrested essentially for attacking this cop. We get our first and only moment of crossover when a certain uncle of hers appears, a certain uncle named Al appears to tell her that he can help her and he can get her out of this. But if she doesn't choose to go with him, she's going to have to fight it herself. And she does realize that she's willing to actually take on this battle on her own, because if she doesn't, the detective that has been helping her will never get out of the terrible situation she's in. So she's got to learn to kind of fight her own battles in this one. And it does come to a conclusion, but not really. And we get like that question mark of how this is going to go. And I think this is going to be a big part into whatever it is that Todd is building for us as the Spawn universe expands. Profane, issue 4 from Boom Studios. This has been such a fun ride, and thank you to everybody that's continued to pick this up. I actually ran out of copies this week before Wednesday because so many of you have jumped on to subscribe to this title over the last month, and I love that you're enjoying it so much. And I'm at the point now where I'm going to spoil it for those of you who haven't picked it up. So this is the story of Will Profane, who is a detective, and he is trying to solve a murder mystery. Now, the thing about Will Profane is he is trying to solve the mystery of a writer, and that writer is that writer who was murdered, and the murdered writer is actually the guy who created his story, because Will Profane is an imaginary character, except he has now found himself in the world of nonfiction dealing with the murder of his actual creator. And in our world, our reality, nonfiction as he calls it, it is getting messy because Will has never had somebody not write his way out of a situation before. And so he's teamed up with a lot of different people he's got that are helping him along the way, and he doesn't actually know who he can trust and who he can't. And it's great because as somebody backstabs him, he's like, huh, that would have never happened in my story because I would have figured out that they were shifty before that ever gotten there. So great to see just this character's growth, all of the different like classic like noir moments and how they twist and turn in this story. It has been so well done. If you have not picked it up, I highly recommend you're reading this book. If you are into crime detective stories at all, you're going to get a little bit of the classic, this is happening in the story, like the tropes and all of the stuff like that, but you're also going to see like a really good story in your comic alone, and you get a little bit of both. And I love the naming of everybody is the classic like ridiculous pulp comic kind of names because they are supposed to be out of the book, so it's so much fun. Toxic Summer, issue 3 from Oni Press. This is our wrap up of our Toxic Summer as we head into hopefully a less toxic fall. So we are wrapping up this story of these two boys who really wanted to just have the most ridiculous, like, MTV summer kind of summer. I don't know if that's still a thing. So if you're under the age of 25 and you are watching this and you don't know what I mean by that, YouTube it. So these kids are so excited about it, only to find out that when they get to the beach, it has been destroyed by this toxic sludge. And they are attempting to clean it up, only to find out that it is taking over the minds and bodies of all of the people who live in this town. And now they're all possessed and they are attacking people. And these kids are the only two that can save the day, and so they are trying so hard to stop these like alien-esque type creatures. It's classic like B-movie horror comedy situation filled with kids making all of the wrong choices trying to save the day, and whether or not they can save Summer is something we're going to discover by the end of this, just in time for the end of their vacation. Check it out. It has also been another one of our fan favorites where we can't keep it in stock. So, get it while you can. Gotcha Man, issue 3 from Mad Cave. This was one of Santiago Saturday picks, which is really cool because I really am enjoying this book and I don't know anything about Gotcha Man. And Santiago has been enjoying the book as a huge Gotcha Man fan, so it's kind of nice to be able to see that, like, no matter what side of the fence you're on, you can find enjoyment in this story. But if you don't know, Gotcha Man is the Science Ninja Team group that is working to stop Galactor, which is the evil organization that is, of course, trying to destroy everything in the world. And in the last issue, we noticed that they were going up against Galactor. They noticed that Galactor was trying to find all of the like top scientists in the world to bring them to a secret lair to do something with them. We're not sure what. And they have been trying to figure it out. And the only way they could do that is by sending somebody in undercover to take on the, what did they call them? The sisters of something. They're like the Death Sisters or something crazy like that. And so they send June, because she's the only girl on the team, underneath to be one of the sisters. And the whole thing immediately is blown because it's impossible when you're like mind linked with somebody essentially to infiltrate that. And so June is now stuck in this place trying to battle her way out with the rest of the Science Ninja team on their way to come help her. But what's really cool about this story is they have actually shown us that they have been training additional replacements for the Science Ninja team, but they will not let them go in unless it's all as one team. It's like you can't replace a single person on the team. It has to be the whole team gets wiped out, and then we send in the new team. And in the process of this, we find out that Galactor knows that June has infiltrated them and that the Science Ninja team is on the way to save her, so their team, they decide as an organization that the only way to stop them is to put humans in danger. And so now they're torn between, do we go and save the people or do we save our own person? And whether or not we're ever going to use that other team, this would be the prime moment to do that. But for some reason, the leader still won't let that happen. We're going to figure out if they ever actually use all these other resources they have, or if June doesn't make it out alive, which would be a shame if you got rid of the one girl on your team. We've got The Domain, issue 3 from Image, except really it's from Dallas Comics, which is the fictional comic book publisher inside of Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain. So this is, if you are reading Public Domain, it is essentially like, what if Jack Kirby had gotten his rights back to his Marvel characters and him and his children started a new publishing company and started telling a modern story of the old characters. Well, this is the story that they're telling. And so we are actually seeing the new Domain comic come to life. In it, we are finding out that we have given the power of the Domain, which used to be just one person had it. In this modern retelling of it, they have decided 3 people are going to have the power of the Domain, which was achieved by collecting these bracelets from a spaceship. And they can each only have the power at one time. Whoever is using it, the others will have it siphoned from them so that it goes into the one. They have taken the alien that had the powers hostage now, and the police have picked up some other aliens who are there to destroy the other one and anybody who gets in their way. And so these guys are going to have to learn how to actually work together as a team and actually be heroes if they want to save the day that they don't even realize is in as much danger as possible. This is such a great companion to the Domain, the public domain story. So if you want to know like what they're actually writing, you don't ever see it in public domain because it's all available to you right here. And of course, in real life, it is actually written by Chip Zdarsky. So if you are a fan of Chip Zdarsky writing superheroes, this is a great way to get another Zdarsky hero story. Galaxy of Madness, issue 3 from Mad Cave. It's such a cool looking book. Michael Avon Oeming is doing all of this story, and it's so cool the way it just looks. But this is the story of a young girl who is working on a spaceship that is going around, and they're kind of doing just different research and development kind of situations like around the galaxy. And her parents have gone missing, and so she is being raised by their best friend, who is like, I swore a pact that I would keep you safe forever. But now she's gotten to those teenage years where she's like, I want to find my parents, you can't stop me. So she's going behind his back and like getting into all this trouble trying to find her parents. So he's like, okay, let's just go for it. So in this issue, they are actually gone to a planet that is supposed to be a place where she's going to find the information she needs to find her parents. And she, it just builds out this like whole story. Like they follow this little robot who takes them to this person who's like, yes, I know where you are and what you want to see. I can get you the information to your, to find your parents, but there's more to your life than you need to know. And she's like, okay, I want to do it. And he's like, this isn't how this works. Like this, you're still putting yourself in danger. And so again, it's just this really cool looking story from Michael Avon Oeming's art. And I think it's Magdalene Viziaggio is writing the story, and I have not read their work before, and so I love the way that these two are working together to build out like this really cool family-driven sci-fi story that just kind of, you never know what's going to come around the next bend in these pages, and it's kind of just exactly that. It's a galaxy of madness, and there is some double crossing and some shiftiness and some secrets. And honestly, my favorite thing that Madeline does at the end of every issue is gives you that classic like, what's gonna happen next month, like kind of blurb at the end that's got all the like, this could happen and this and this, and then stay tuned readers because we're gonna see. And you just like want to read it in that like radio broadcast voice because it's so pulpy and fun at that moment. And it always gets you, like, even if you're like, oh man, like that was a rough issue, then you like get that little teaser at the end and you're like, oh, now I can't wait. It's amazing how that still works to this day as a motivator to make you want to read the next issue. Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, Volume 2, Sons of Giants, Issue 3 from IDW. I have so many people who come in, and when they pick up this book, they're just like, I had no idea that I was going to love seeing Godzilla done in this way. And I love that. The first Here There Be Dragons was literally a pirate story about them finding Monster Island and the monsters of the story actually being the kaiju. Sons of Giants is actually about a secret society that has been monitoring and kind of using and protecting kaiju for since the dawn of civilization. And so each one we're seeing a different kaiju story and a different time period throughout history. And so this is actually the story of Moses and how Mothra was helpful to Moses in the parting of the Red Sea and helping them find a new place to get away from the Pharaoh. And we kind of see how that works into the story of this secret society who is like, look, we've been a part of everything. We know this history. Everything you think you know isn't real. And they've brought this investigative reporter in, and he's like, look, if you're gonna kill me, just kill me. Like, I get it, I know how secret societies work. And they're like, who said anything about killing you? Like, we're revealing our secrets to you for a different reason, and what that reason's gonna be, we're gonna find out. This has just, it's been absolutely fun. I love to see the things that Frank Thierry has found ways to accredit to kaiju throughout history, and I love it because it's like, look, you're never gonna believe us when we tell you these things, but the history you've been taught and the history that's real are always two different things. And it's like, what if kaiju really were real? And what if they are a part of all of our history and we just don't know it because the secret society is hiding it from us? I'm here to believe that Mothra is real anytime you want me to believe that. As long as I get to ride Mothra at some point. That's really all I want. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 2 as a part of our relaunch from IDW, and the relaunch, the first 4 issues are going to be kind of following like the story of each of the turtles and showing what they're up to these days. And issue 1 followed Raphael, who was in prison, who was there for his own reasons to do some investigation. This follows Michelangelo, who's moved to Japan to become the greatest new celebrity. He only, now the only ninjaing he does is he actually works on a TV show where he is a fake ninja. And he's like, I'm the biggest celebrity in Japan and possibly in the whole world. Everybody loves me. I took my fun-loving behaviors and I turned them into being a celebrity. But it doesn't last long because some people break into his apartment and attack him. And Michelangelo is having to realize that he's going to have to fight for himself. And he's kind of has this moment where he realizes that like he's not even paying attention to the people he's fighting, because in his mind he's fighting his brothers, because he's so mad at whatever it is that separated them, which we still don't know yet. And so for the first time, like, Michelangelo is kind of addressing that in this series, and he's like, we had everything, we were perfect, we were a wonderful family, and they've ruined it all, and they just never believed in me, and they never believed in us fully and each other, and they've destroyed us. And he's like, I don't know if I want my family back. I thought I did. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. But I just, I can't believe they did this. And so whatever it is, it really hurt Mikey. But we're going to see how that comes along, because as each issue goes, we are getting a little bit forward movement towards the group potentially coming back together, but also finding out what it was that happened between them, which I can't wait to see. Johnny Quest issue 2 from Dynamite. If you read the Free Comic Book Day Johnny Quest story, you know that it kind of left us on a cliffhanger that led into issue 1. If you didn't read the Free Comic Book Day Johnny Quest, that's totally fine too, because we find out in issue 1 that Johnny Quest and his team find themselves in the future. In the now, I should say. They bring them straight from our original days of Johnny Quest to 2024, and Johnny, the young boy, meets Jonathan, the old man, who has been trying to survive on this island and fight against the classic bad guys that Johnny Quest has always been up against. And now that they are all there together, he's like, okay, we have to take this bad guy down. He's going to destroy the world. What are we going to do? And so young Johnny and adult Jonathan are having to work together and kind of rebuild their team and rebuild their technology, and hopefully try to get the young Johnny and his team back to the past, but also maybe try to stop the bad guys in the process. It's just fun, classic Johnny Quest adventuring. So if you're a fan of that, and honestly, if you have young kids that you want to introduce to something like Johnny Quest, this is a great one to give those kiddos an action book that they can read with a hero that they can identify with, but still fun for adults. Speaking of fun for kids and adults, Garfield issue 2 is out from Boom Studios and their Kaboom Kids imprint. I love anytime you get more Garfield in this world, because who doesn't love Garfield? I do love that they have to tell you that it's based on the Garfield movie so that the kids know who Garfield is. That makes me laugh every time I see it. But the first story is all about trying to make sure that Garfield has the absolute worst Monday of all time. And all of the hijinks that go into that, trying to ruin his breakfast, trying to ruin his afternoon nap, trying to ruin his delivery of his Cheese of the Month Club, and all the hijinks that come, only to find out that the plan may have been falsehood from the very beginning, because it is, in fact, not what they thought it was. And then we have the second story, which is Winner Winner Sunday Dinner, where Garfield's dad has joined the family for dinner. And John has made a bunch of lasagna so that there's enough for everybody. But then they find out that there are mice in the house, and John's like, whoever can get rid of the most mice in the house, I will make you a lasagna for every mouse that you get rid of. And so Garfield's dad immediately rounds up all 12 mice and is like, haha, I get the lasagnas. And Garfield, who's angry about it, goes outside to pout, only to meet the mice who went back in. And so they make up a plan together that Garfield will capture each mouse in exchange for one layer of cheese from the lasagna that gets made for him. And so suddenly every mouse in all of the world is ready to come and be a part of Garfield's plan. And so Garfield is finding himself lasagnaed out very quickly, or at least John is. Fun times, great stories. If you just love classic Garfield, you're definitely going to love it. Eternal Warriors, issue 2 from Valiant, and our resurgence of the Valiant line of books now that they are with Alien Books as a publisher. So, Eternal Warriors, if you don't know, there are 4 of them, so I'm going to show you this. Technically, there's one Eternal Warrior, but there are 4 immortals that are a part of that, which is the Warbringer. I'm going to get it completely wrong. Is it Warmonger? There's the girl who makes war happen. There's Armstrong from Archer and Armstrong. There is the Eternal Warrior, and then there is the Timekeeper. And they are all siblings who were all granted immortality in different ways. And so in their 2-issue connecting pieces that are bringing us back into the world, issue 1 saw them in the Old West, because the Time Watcher says that there's only 2 times in the history of time he can't see, 2024 and this time in the 1800s. And so he gathers the 4 of them to go back in time to figure out what it is that happened, only to find out that the problem there is actually with Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and the 4 of them. They have teamed up with Wyatt Earp to solve some problems, only to cause more problems than expected. And it seems like it's just the 3 brothers. And then we do figure out what happened to the sister in the 1800s and what it is that caused the blind spot in the Time Watchers story history, and where these people are going, and how this is going to impact the 2024 story that's happening across all of the Valiant books, with the sinkholes and the sudden disappearance of parts of the world and people. So this was actually really cool, again, because I'm not well versed in my Valiant world, and so these 2-issue minis have been really, really great at teaching you who everybody in Valiant Comics is. And I'm finding that, like, there's a lot of really cool premises to these Valiant stories, and where they're going could be really awesome to see. So I'm excited that we're nearing the end of our resurgence, and we're going to actually get that Valiant Universe book coming to us soon. And speaking of, we've got issue 2 of The Darks, which is the wrap-up of this. And so these are 2 other Valiant characters who are brother and sister, who both have this like crazy dark magic power that they've held on to and used for many years. And they've always kind of worked together. The sister is actually the one who gave her boyfriend, her partner at one point, the connection to the shadow world that created him as Shadow Man. So these are characters who are going to bring Shadow Man back into our Valiant universe as well. But they have both been trapped into this alternate reality, essentially, and they are trying to break their way out of it. And the 2 biggest villains for each, the biggest villain for each of them is the other one. You know, they've always worked together, they've always been on the same side, but now they're seeing that maybe that doesn't necessarily work for them, and yet at the same time the biggest ally for each of them is also each other. And so we're just kind of seeing this this war between these magical siblings as they try to figure out like what their role in the Valiant universe is going to be, and we kind of get to see that big battle in this issue as we lead to the resurgence of the Valiant universe. I thought it was really cool. I didn't know that there was other people connected to Shadow Man, so again, I'm learning all kinds of stuff. Red Before Black, issue 2 from Boom Studios, another fan favorite recently. It takes place here in Florida, because Stephanie Phillips writes it, and she loves to put Florida into her stories. And it is all about a woman who is in prison, who is given the opportunity, and we find out how, to get out of prison, in order to like kind of regain her life. But the way she's going to do that is she has to kind of turn evidence on some bigger people, and she gets sent home to connect with an old associate, and he's like, hey, if you want to get into my crew and you want to be a part of this, you're going to have to actually take out this woman who stole all of my money and all of my property that I was trying to move. And so she goes to take that girl out, only to end up saving her life. And so now she's like, hey, I don't really know how to do this, but I kind of have to kill you even though I saved your life. And the girl's like, yeah, I totally figured that was the point, that you were going to come here to kill me. Not really sure why you saved me, unless you just wanted to prove yourself. Is that what you're trying to do? Like, you're trying to prove yourself to get in. And so in this issue, they're kind of at this impasse where the two of them know each other's plans and strategies better than they should, and yet whether or not they're going to actually come out of this like friends or killing each other, or everybody's going to be misallied at the end of it, we're going to find out. But there's definitely a third party coming into the story who has some information on whether or not she is true to who she says she is, and hunting her down himself. So just a really cool moving like chess game of pieces to get you going. The Pedestrian, issue 2 from Magma Comics. Man, this story is fun. This is about a guy who is a superhero, but really not sure like how. He kind of just seems to slowly and within all rules of the crosswalk save people from minor crimes throughout the city. And we saw that happen in issue 1 as he saved a girl who was a pizza delivery girl, as well as some kids who were almost hit while crossing the street. In this issue, we are actually following the woman who is the crossing guard of that crosswalk, who actually knows our pedestrian, and she has maybe been harboring him and kind of guiding him along his way. Whether or not she actually knows who the pedestrian is, we still don't even know, but we kind of see her protecting him and giving him, or them, I guess I should say, we don't really know, giving them the tools that they need to find safe harbor and pizza along the way. But we also see that there is a villain in the mix who is the don't walk sign symbol. And so we are going to see where that person can actually make darkness and evil like kind of spread into other people and fight just that absolute need for violence. And so this might actually go from minor crimes to major crimes very quickly. And is our pedestrian and the people interested in finding him capable? Are they capable of handling what's coming? We're going to find out. Again, it's very much like if you made an almost serious version of Rush Hour from My Bad by Mark Russell into a character. This would be what it feels like. All right, we got a bunch of books launching this week. We've got Deadly Trails. Oh my god, I was like, what is this? Issue 1. And this is from Black Box as well. This was all about, oh my gosh, like we have like the classic like saloon like haunted murder like mystery. Like we've got some guys who are shady and are kind of running over this town, and of course then the lone gunman wanders in, and he's got like that weird like, who is he, where did he come from? You can actually see him in this one, and is like, I'm going after these people, and they're like, you won't make it, and he's like, well, I'd like to see them stop me, and we kind of get to see him like mysteriously lead us to whatever it is that's going on, and then we see, you know, a son kind of situation. We see like the young boy on the farm who's like, I've got to help with this. I've got to figure out what's going on, and be involved in this story. And we kind of get to see a little bit of what could be backstory for this character, but it's definitely going to reveal some big stuff one way or another. And I think this is one where issue 1 is kind of like almost the teaser trailer to get you into what is coming in this story, where we're going to find out more about who this mysterious man is as we read along. Dead Eyes returns with Dead Eyes, The Empty Frames, issue 1 from Image. Now, I did not read the previous Dead Eyes like saga of story and was like, I wonder if I'm going to understand what's happening in this. And absolutely, yes, I do. And you can easily jump in. It doesn't matter if you've ever read Dead Eyes, but if you love like those classic like thief, like especially art thief stories, this is going to be a good one. This is all about a guy named Dead Eyes who is an art thief who is trying to actually go in and steal some paintings that were already stolen. Basically, a long time ago, some people went in and stole a bunch of paintings out of an art museum, but they didn't know what they were doing, so they cut them out of the frames. And nobody's ever been able to hunt them down. And he is determined now to hunt them down because he wants to get money to help someone, because he had actually just recently donated money to a woman in need, and they came in and like stole that money from her. And so now he's trying to get more money so he can help her and other people as well. And so he's going to do that by robbing the mobsters essentially who stole these paintings and bringing them back to the museum for a reward. I'm very excited. This is going to be so good. It actually, after reading this one issue, I was like, I'm going to go back and read all of Dead Eyes because I now love this character. I love the premise. I want to know more in this world, and this series is already so good after one issue that I can't wait to read whatever came before it. We've got The Mist, and this is a one-shot. It's actually the second one in the Mist world, and this one-shot is called The Valerius Farmer. And this is from Dark Horse. And I really liked the last Mist story we got, and this one was also really good. This is about a person who lives on a farm and has kind of lost all of their family, but is the only farmer who's still dealing with the wheat that helps everybody grow bread. Everybody else has moved on to like these fancy flours that rich people like, and kind of just gave up on the traditional medium of food for this world essentially. And they end up having a problem with their car, and they try to go get it fixed. And as soon as they put all of the money into getting the parts needed to fix their car, they get attacked on the way home, and their car is completely destroyed. And it's like, well, now I have no money, and now I'm in debt because I just put all of my money into fixing something, getting parts to fix something that now I can't. It doesn't even matter if I fix. And so she goes to some friends, and her friends are like, hey, look, you need to remember that the one thing that matters in this world is that you are not alone. You not only have us as friends, but you have a whole community, a community that you've served with the thing that you've grown and cultivated. And if you just put out a call to them and told them that you needed help, I bet everybody in this community would be there for you. It was just absolutely beautiful, and I almost cried a little bit. And it was just such a wonderful story. And also, I love all of you because you're our community and our family, and you're always there, and you're always wonderful. And this book just was a great reminder of how wonderful our Bat fam is. And if you haven't read it yet, you should read Mist, The Valerius Farmer, and remember that you're never alone. It is a one shot. Mist is an anthology of stories in this world that is like beyond the mist, essentially. Like beyond the I guess it's in the midst. It's in the midst of the like shadow world and the sunshiny world. In between those two is like where the rest of the people live, in the midst. I can't show most of that book on the screen, so I'm not going to. Time Waits, issue 1 from Distillery and Chip Zdarsky. It's just Chip Zdarsky's world, and we're just reading in it. This is all about a guy who is trying to just live like a normal life, as far as we know. He's married to a cop, and she's, doing like the breadwinner role for them, and he's trying to figure out how to be there for her and support her. And there is a kid who we're kind of supposed to, I think, imagine is actually their child, but they're letting be raised by somebody else because of some mysterious circumstances, which we see every time he gets a headache. We kind of have these flashbacks to a time where our main character was actually working as like some secret time jump kind of operative. Like he was essentially doing government shady or possibly just shady work that throughout time in different places, and he got out of that, and so he thought he was fine. But guess what? They always track you down, they always come after you, and now he is having to deal with everybody he loves being in danger and these people trying to come after him, and all he wants to do is just have his happy family life, and it's not really working for him. This is perfect for fans of like Vicious Circle that Boom put out recently. This has very similar feels to that, but with that Chip Zdarsky kind of bite to it. So I definitely recommend checking it out. It's going to be such a big story, and yet, you know, a distillery so contained in 3 issues. But I want to know how this time world works and what kind of dangers he got himself into, and why he needs to get himself out of them. And then we've got Summer Shades, or Summer Shadows. Why do I keep calling it Summer Shades all week long? Summer Shadows, issue 1, also from Dark Horse. This is it's so glossy, I feel bad touching it. This is another great, make sure that's okay. Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't think there's anything in this. This is another great horror story for you, but it's kind of like really like reads almost in the same way that Helen of Windhorn does, where it's got more of that literary driven story that almost feels like you're reading a novel more than it feels like you're reading a comic. But this is about a man whose partner breaks up with him and is like, don't come after me, like, we're through. Like, he does it all just with like a postcard, we're through, I've found what I was looking for. And he's like, what could he have possibly found, and why is he in Greece, and where did he go? So he hops a plane and is like, I just have to go like see him and figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, some kids on the island realize that their friend has gone missing. He was met some random people on a beach that they were going to camp on, and he has gone missing and isn't like anywhere. They can't find him. He goes to the cops and is like, nobody wants to help us because we're kind of just people who migrate around and don't really have a home, and people think that we're just out here doing weird stuff, but like, my friend would never disappear like that. And then we kind of get some glimpses into what it is that's making people disappear, or who it is, and how maybe everybody in the town might be secretly involved with it. I really think this is going to be a fantastic story. I cannot wait to read issue 2. Again, like, if you're into the horror, but you like the writing style that Tom King is using on Helen of Windhorn, I think this is going to be a good one for you to pick up for sure. Cannot wait to see where that goes. And then I've got 2 picks of the week for you. First up is Dark Empty Void #1 from Mad Cave. And let's be honest, this would have been here in picks of the week even if the story wasn't good, just because it's got Chris Sheehan art in it, and Chris Sheehan's art is always a pick of the week. But this is Zach Kaplan writing, so it's of course a great story as well. This follows a woman who is a professor on psychological studies, and just kind of like what motivates people and how you deal with depression and how it can be contained and things like that. And then we see her go home, and she's kind of actually like a walking depiction of what depression is, because she's watching her wedding video, even though and drinking and really sad, and she gets a phone call from her ex that's like, hey, I need your help, I need you to come out here, and we need your assistance and your expertise. Only to find out that when she gets there, her ex is working on a science experiment that has basically taken a black hole and contained it, and something has crawled out of that black hole, or someone, and they are trying to figure out like where this person came from and how they can use their knowledge in order to make sure that the black hole doesn't destroy all of the world. And this person seems to have weird knowledge of everybody in the room, and it is creepy and wonderful. Very what was the movie with Amy Adams where she had the aliens come down. It feels kind of like that, but like even more horrific. It's gonna be a good sci-fi horror, and it's gonna look beautiful the whole time. Zach Kaplan is always great at messing with your mind, and Chris Sheehan is always good at making things look beautiful while it happens. I'm so excited for this team up, but if you didn't pick up Dark Empty Void this week, absolutely do it. And then lastly, we had the wrap-up of Ain't No Grave with issue 5 from Image Comics and Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. This has just been a beautiful book. This is all about a woman in the Old West who was like the big shot gunslinger, and she was moving like her life in the right direction. She met a man, they got married, they had a kid. She mostly for the most part settled down and wasn't doing any of her dastardly deeds anymore. And then she finds out that she's dying, and she doesn't think it's fair that she's finally put her life in the right order, and she's not going to get to experience it with the people she loves. So she travels to the afterlife and is attempting to battle death and fight for more time in the only way she knows how, with a showdown. And Death says basically, for every shot that you take at me and you miss, I'm going to show you a piece of your life that you're missing by not being there, and rub it in essentially that you won't be a part of your world. And if you do hit me, I'll give you more time. And it is a beautiful ending and kind of just wrap up story of this whole experience. I love that Scotty named each of the titles of the book after the stages of, depression and like denial, acceptance, grief, all of that. It was so great, and it just such a beautiful book. And if you didn't read it, grab it. I love when Scotty Young and Jorge Corona team up. It's not gonna, it never really went the way that I thought it was going to, which is kind of what I love about this book. But I just love that at the end of the day, like you can fight death all you want. It's always going to be there. All right, so we've got a couple more books in stock. Club Nephilim, I can't actually show you the inside, but it was actually just a really crazy, wild book from Devil Stew Studio. This is issue 0 that's going to set up the world, but it is very racy, very guy trying to save a woman from a nightclub of angels and demons who doesn't want to be saved. Precious Metal, issue 4. This is from your World of Little Bird. This leads 35 years before into the World of Little Bird number 1. Crazy wild art. Something Is Killing the Children had an archive edition of issue 1 come out. So if you do not have a copy of issue 1, this is essentially a facsimile version of it to add to your collection. We've got Absolute Power Task Force 7, issue 5 with this cool Booster Gold cover. Batman Gotham by Gaslight Kryptonian Age, issue 4. Avengers Assemble, issue 1. The Death in the Family Robin Lives, issue 3. If you wanted to know what it would have been like if Robin would have survived when they killed Jason Todd instead of dying, that's the whole story. Batman 89 Echoes, number 4. Batman and Robin, issue 13. Captain America, issue 13. We've got issue 2 of DC versus Vampires, World War V. I cannot believe this story is back, and I'm still in love with it. We've got Green Lantern, issue 15. Nightwing Uncovered. This is a one-shot that features all of your favorite Nightwing covers from over the last couple of years. So it is not a story inside, it is just the covers. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 57. Spider-Man Reigns, volume 2, issue 3. Scorch, 33. We've got Ultimate Black Panther, issue 8. And the best of Dark Leo from the TMNT universe. I didn't even know there were that many stories about Dark Leo, but there are, and they're in that book. Uncanny X-Men, issue 2. Venom War Wolverine, number 1. Venom Separation Anxiety, issue 5, which is the end of that series. Venom War Carnage, issue 2. Venomverse Reborn, number 4. If you are a Venom fan, the world is yours right now. Especially with those movie announcements, coming out. Don't spoil it in the comments for people who don't know. Masters of the Universe Revolution, number 4. Red Sonja. This is the Death and the Devil, issue 1. Shazam, issue 15. Plus, we've got some graphic novels and trade paperbacks out this week. We have I Felt Myself Slipping from Oni Press, which is about a gymnast dealing with the loss of her dad and trying to still balance her life and her gymnast experience at the same time. We've got The Strange Tales of Oscar Zahn, which is a webtoon brought into print version for the first time. Detective, supernatural detective, exorcisms, all of that. If you're a fan of John Constantine, that would definitely be something you might like. All Our Ordinary Stories. This is a book about basically life and dealing with multicultural family journeys and kind of going through all of those stories that happen along the way. The Library Mule of, I don't know what that is. Cordova. Is it an H or that's so hard to see what that is? I still don't know. Is that supposed to be an H or a B in that print?
Cordova.
It is a B? Okay. The Library Mule of Cordova. I couldn't tell if it was an H or a B with the font, so I wanted to make sure. This book is beautiful, though. This is from Ablaze. It looks absolutely wonderful. It is what happens when saving the world's books from destruction depend on the worst mule in history, and I'm so excited to read this book. We've got the volume 1 of The Prism, which was all about all of the best members of every band being brought together to save the world through playing music in the outskirts of the galaxy. Nightwing Volume 5. I know there's a lot of you who are collecting your Tom Taylor Nightwing in trade paperback form. It is out for Volume 5. The Divide from CEX is finally out in trade paperback form, which will include the final issues of the story. So I'm very excited. Get in line. I'm going to read this first. And we've got Justice Warriors Vote Harder. This is so, I've been waiting. I'm so excited about this. Justice Warriors is such a fantastic book. I'm so excited to have this new volume of it. It's, you know, ahoy at its absolute finest, and happy birthday to the creator of this, Matt Bors, whose birthday was just the other day. So what a great way to celebrate your birthday, to have the newest volume of your book come out. And if you haven't read this, this is political satire at its finest from a Pulitzer Prize finalist of political cartooning. So you should be reading it. It's fantastic. That's all I've got for you. Again, this week, don't forget, Wednesday we have storytelling night for adults. So come out, tell some stories, learn how to tell stories. It's going to be fun. Because we're going to do it with story cubes. We've got comic creation workshops for kiddos on Saturday at 4 p.m. Badiversary is going to be September 28th from 11 to 4. Put it on your calendars. Don't miss it. It's local comic shop day. It's going to be amazing. And as always, this Wednesday and every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. So there is going to be a ton of great books that you can add to your collection. And I will tell you all about them next Sunday night when we wind down your weekend. Until then, happy reading, everyone. Bye.